Hello lords and ladies, welcome back to Cartoon Hangout, your place for all things cartoon. I've basically apologized more times than I can count when it comes to videos being late on the channel, but I'm sorry that my review is a week late. And I can't believe I postponed it so long because episode 6, Nuclear Family Values, is a really fun episode. In this episode, we get a closer look at Firestorm, who you may be slightly familiar with if you're a fan of the Arrowverse on the CW. Of course, cartoon Firestorm and even comic book Firestorm are a lot different from their live action counterparts, so you may not be used to a more humorous version of the character. But with Justice League Action having a more comedic direction, although not as overbearing as Teen Titans Go or hit and miss as the Powerpuff Girls, it's actually a match made in heaven. I don't think a single joke or line said in this episode was ever groan-inducing or horrible. It was certainly a bit more on the funny side than previous episodes have been, but again, only because of the character we were following this time around. I really have to commend his voice actor, PJ Byrne, for really selling the character Ronnie as a funny teen hero. It helps that he's the voice of Bo Lin, who was very much the comedic relief in The Legend of Korra. In terms of action and animation, I do have to again give props to the team working on the show. The episodes may be short, but once again, they look gorgeous. A lot of fiery explosions and radioactive blasts are happening in this episode thanks to the nuclear family, and it all was done very well. My only complaint was this shot here where the dad suddenly had his human face back, but then it was back to being messed up in the next shot. Not sure how that happened, but it's just a tiny mistake. Speaking of, the nuclear family are actually from the comics and are villains, making their first appearance in issue 1 of Outsiders back in 1985. They have a bit of a redesign here, but nothing so major as to warrant mention. They make for some creepy baddies though, and the fact they were very 50s helped in that regard. There's nothing more creepy than super happy-go-lucky androids. Oh, and you gotta love the sensitivity remark. Very indicative of society right now. Still, these characters are some pretty odd choices for the episode. Not a bad thing though. In fact, I really love how it seems we'll be getting some pretty deep cuts in terms of villains and heroes. That idea, and indeed this show, reminds me a little bit more of Batman the Brave and the Bold, which itself was a bit more comedic than most fans were used to with their DC animation, even if previous series weren't exactly 100% devoid of humor. Hopefully fans respond to this show much more positively than with Brave and the Bold though. In conclusion, I love this episode. It had great action befitting its moniker, and the use of Firestorm against the nuclear family was an inspired choice, really. If you aren't already watching JLA, then I beg of you to give it a shot. You won't be disappointed. Unless you're seeking out more story-based animation, then you may be saddened by the short runtime and emphasis on action. It is still a step up from TTG though, so there's that. Anyway, that's all I got to say on the episode. If I missed anything, let me know down below in the comments. But while you're there, share your opinions on the episode. I know I'm a week late, but I still love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and take care.